back to the euro dollar. So if you took my advice last night, now this is, like I said, the sizing needs to be right, and you need to have patience for all the orders to fill. But this is a way to go to sleep and wake up with money in your account. You could have put orders in last night. I'm running a 50 pip grid here on the euro dollar. And I said, we're probably going to take a dippity-do in the session. So it's the way you play this, right? It's the way you play a hand. Anybody gamble? Anybody ever played cards? You can see the setup. If you could trade without stops right now, you'd say, hell, I could buy it here again. If you bought it last night, when I said there's a top become a bottom, this is where people get burned. Top bottom only works on closing prices, which means you got to wait. Okay, that's the hard part. And not to mention, there's going to be a stomp out before this thing proceeds north. And the goal here is to clear this momentum line. I just watched another video, a price action video, and the guy said you've got to learn when you see a candle that's going up and a candle that's going down. Wow. If you need help with up and down, you got a problem. I just don't know why people do that to people. I guess everybody's starting at a certain level. What I would say the most critical thing in trading is volatility first. How big is your account? How tight a stop can you run? Realistically, now you got to put like 5 pips on every stop you got, add 5 pips. You have a 20 pip stop, you think you're running a 20 pip stop, you're probably running a 5 pip stop. If you're trading the guppy, you got to be trading with 100 pip stops. You have to spread your orders all over the place. You need a 50 pip stop, 25 pip stop, 100 pip stop. You got to meticulously create a matrix that the market is going to, high probability trade, the market's going to spike into it. At the end of the trade, you're out. You're looking at a hammer on your screen on the daily. Or you're looking at a doji. You just traded the wick. You got to pad your account so you can ride some other stupid-ass swing trade. You got to be a scalper. You should be a scalper. It's a 24-hour market. So you got to make some kind of money off of the obvious situations. You're standing in front of a damsel in distress. You have to throw her in the car and take her home. I don't care if she's a crackhead. So you don't know later on, maybe you marry her. But you got to be open for adventure. Last night was just stupid, set it and forget it trading. It always is. You may not get filled on those banks. It could have just taken off and you'd say, damn, I should have just bought the market. So this is the fork in the road you're going to run into. I should have bought the market. All right. How about you buy a little bit the market and then put a wide stop on a small position, satisfy that part of your brain, then go into the limit orders, which people think is aggressive. But it makes sense. It's going to go on sale. You're not there for the sale. This is my analogy. You have a car that you want to buy. 3 cars. So what do? Do you wait till they go on sale, drop everything you're doing, run down and get stuff? Do you do that? Maybe you do. You want the excitement of running down there. But why don't you just give the dealer your credit card and tell them when somebody comes in, I authorize you to hit my credit card. I've already executed up front. I've already given you money up front. Nice car comes in, nail it. Before the other guy on the street sees it, I want you to put it on the side for me. That's what a pending order is. Buying sight unseen. You're trusting the guy at the dealership. You said, I want a BMW. I want it to be a 2002. Mint condition. Anything near mint. Bank it. Well, he gets it. It's like, it's not the best thing in the world, right? But he bought it at the market. He bought it a pending. It doesn't mean that there's not another. What if another BMW comes in that looks even sweeter? He's like, well, I did what you said. Don't you want to have enough money in your account to buy 3 BMWs, get rid of one to pay for the fact that now you got to put gas in the other 2? You can't just live on one. You have to be completely willing to do the smallest trade to the largest trade without any, but it becomes a large trade. All these small trades add up. So the thing is, are you going to hold it now? Are you going to add? I do think maybe you do think it's really going up. You're like, guys, scalp so much now. Should I just get in? Well, you'd have to get in lightly now because it's going to pull back again. In fact, this could be it. Don't forget, there's always a fork in the road. This could be lights out for the euro, right? We could come up here, rest at that trend line, never break it on. This is momentum on close. This top bottom fails, right? I'm totally zoomed out. You don't need any more data. You don't need to look back. You do this, your brain's going to, oh, what's really going up? It may not. You look at this, that's a range trade. You trap back again at this, right? Then if you go for the Stapleton view, well, let's take a look back here. I still got that fractal stuff on from the fractal. How is this helping me now? I'm buying on limits, actually. So, I left the limits in here from last night. They last all day. The ones that I filled, I don't know, made like $400 or something. $300. Now, if I had the targets set in a spectrum through this whole thing, can you imagine? It looks like a lot of orders, but it's, it's a modern world. People say it's a lot of orders. It's not. It looks, you stretch this out, hit F8 on your keyboard. You can never see what I'm hitting down there. So, these are the pendings that never filled. I came and put these in after that move. But the ones I cashed out on, I'm not sure. You can see the colors show up. How many cashed out? See, deposit 10 grand in here. And these expired, see? See all the expiration ones? That's risk not getting, you're not getting risk exposure there. So these sell limits cashed out. I don't know. Let's see. Guess we got to go down here. So, okay, this is like a 30 pip clean winner now. This is probably set to make. See, I got out of this before I let it cha-ching out at the predefined. If you see the take profit has a color, it means historically that got out the way it was supposed to get out. See, now there's an even number tag outs, see? 20 pips, 20 pips. This is risk 30 to make 20, I think, on some of these tickets. Some are break-evens. And how much did it get stopped out of it? How good did it do? It really depends how you place the orders. Now, you only have to historically look at the wick that you just traded. You're really going to be the wick. You're not going to... You could have bought here, right? And then we raided. We did a raid. And the M guy, the guy that won't tell me how big he's trading, he's saying, well, how can you just fucking put orders down there and voila, you got money? Oh, you got to put the orders in. If you don't put the orders in, you don't see it works. You got to open a demo, and you dedicate it to just buying first you buy every 10 pips with a master stop. Because when you do the math, why are you fucking buying a 50K at the market? If you have a day job, why are you buying a 50K at the market? You're trying to scalp it. And then he tells me he's trading with 30 to 50 pip stops. So I'm thinking he's trading maybe 3K per ticket. Of course, you go 1 to 3K. It doesn't matter. I'm saying is if you focus so much on 2 tickets, you spend that much time to manage 2 fucking tickets, they better be big tickets. You bought 150K, the other one's 100K, you scalped the 50, you're riding the 100, or you scalped the 100, you're riding the 50, and now you're going to manage that. Well, I can't manage that, right? I know I just couldn't. I can't manage just waking up, so how am I going to manage the, actually I can't sleep, that's the problem. No, but, so, to manage something, And then you're going to sit there. Maybe you can keep plugging off little segments and just do partial closes on and on and on. But you're fooling yourself at some point. You should have been one and done on that. At this point on the daily candle, and see, still get in here because, hey, we're still at the train has left the station. And look how they trap these guys. Notice if you were just, now for the people that are getting their ass kicked in these markets, without regard to this top-bottom shit, which is very momentum-based, take a look at the ATR from the previous day, and you're going to tell me, now this wick, don't forget this wick came after this one. All you got to do is bracket this, the buy and sell stop, with the trade plan where the stop's here, and the other stop's here if you get filled, but you didn't get filled. Confirmation on stop entry is only used during small ATRs. Otherwise, you're going to get fucking whipsawed. Does anybody fucking see that? This stop entry shit. Putting a buy stop up here. Are you fucking nuts? Okay, maybe for a little scalpola. But even this. Selling up into this, you're going to get crushed. But you're selling up into it. You're not selling here and going, oh, fuck, I got stopped out. I'll put a 75 pip stop in that bitch. You got to breathe with the market. You got to go in and out. You got to take it, okay? If you're in karate, somebody punches you, you have to let it come to you. If you brace yourself, they're going to fucking knock you over. This is Tai Chi. You got to engulf the punch. Or you're going to break, okay? It's like standing there with a big position with a tight stop and going, I'm going to ride this. No, this is going to knock you over. 200 pips. I did a video, 200 pips stop, right? 1K, 20 bucks. If I want to risk $20, how tight can I get that stop? As soon as I go to 100 pips stop, I mean, as soon as I could trade 2K at 100 pips top, right? As soon as I go up one increment from a 1K to a 2K, now I got to tighten that stop up from 200 pips to 100 pips to have the same linear risk. The kind of risk that you can write in a risk book and just say I'm risking $20 a day. And maybe you are trading one of those as a Gartley pattern, right? Like I say, it's not that stuff doesn't work, but you're under trading you can overtrade, but you can undertrade. You're undertrading if you're using a Gartley. How many fucking times is the Holy Ghost going to show up on you? It's like this thing where people are finding Jesus on a Ritz cracker. Look at this potato chip. It looks like fucking some movie star. Oh my God. Selling it on eBay or some shit? Fuck, how often does that trade set up? So fuck that shit. And just watch all this stuff this weekend. I just can't believe these people with the fucking carny fuck whose attorney's trying to sue me because I said the word harmonica. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So, what is with these people? Then I see him with the IML guy. Oh my God, this fat turd that's sitting there going, well, you know, this scanner you came up with. Yeah, he built a fucking harmonic scanner, this fuckhead. Carney. And he's just a dick. I mean, I make fun of Stapleton, but I'm not going to sue him. I mean, come on. You have to make fun of the Hollywood version of forex. But, yeah, man, you know, you could have easily blown up the account on this. Now, you can realize the ATR on the British pound, when that sold off, completely different world from the euro dollar to the British pound. So if you're going to go to the British pound, you better put in whatever your stops for trading on euro. You're going to have to double those. This is vicious. Same thing with the, when these things are like, when these things are all pissed off, these markets, like the dollar to the yen gets into these triangles of compression, and then when it breaks out, like this is a triangle right here. We're in the triangle. You can scale up the formation of this triangle, and people are loading up here. Tomorrow's Wednesday. So all that swap stuff's coming. Wild Wednesday, this thing's going to be stomping north, blowing people's brains out. It's probably all the way up to the 113, the Fibonacci price. Guaranteed. I'm not going to guarantee it, but we don't have to. We could put sell limits at 113 to say if it comes there, this is the if-then statements. You know, it's like if-then statements do make sense. Like if you listen to the empowered trading people, you'd say, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Well, of course, if-then, but you have to have 20 if-thens. You can't have one if-then. You can't live like that, man, because nobody can run a business. Well, you have one thing on the menu and just, do you like it? Good, okay. You got like 8 customers. Are you kidding? You're really going to price your stuff like that? Your inventory, you've got your traders, so your inventory are tickets. You trade 2 tickets? Okay, well, it's a hobby, you know. It's like you got a garage in your house and you fix your neighbor's shit occasionally and it gives you a beer, right? But if you really want to make money, you have all these fucking orders out there, right? You have like franchises. You hire somebody to place orders. They don't even know what they're doing. Like they're doing something. They're like, why am I doing this again? So, you know, you have them trade a demo. You have them trade real money. Tell them it's a demo, right? And just keep saying, you know, you're getting pretty good at it. Let's see what you can do next year. We'll let you try live money, and then you just, you know, meanwhile, it's all live money. So you're using that to pay them. They don't know that, right? So you have to have a prop house like that. You can't let people know they're trading money. They're going to just screw up every order placement, right? You don't go buying inventory for your store thinking, man, this stuff's going to sell. I'm going to be like living it up when this shit moves. How do you know how long it's going to move that? How long is it going to take the market to come to your inventory and pick up your orders and your tickets? You can't be like this utopian Garley ship, because that stuff is like, wow, well, okay, it's going to come down there, but you got to be able to scalp the price action that appears at any time window and any price level. You got to have those tickets. So it's definitely a daunting task. I laid in here. I was in $150,000 on this thing. I was using about $300 a margin when this came down into this. And where it stops, nobody knows, right? You kind of know there's actually a top inside the bottom here. Here's the top, right? It cuts through it, but you had to put an order here too. Now look at the diversification in orders. I have a couple of duplicates here. Now you can come back and trim this off if you think there's a hot spot here. And maybe you want the hot spot to be right at a certain level. You can back these up. It's hard to back these up with the take profit staying in place, but you can see the take profit down here. I mean the stop down here and the take profit. This is break even. I think 30 or 40 pips or something. I don't know. So you can bring them down to here, right? This is on the other pivot. Another monster top become a bottom on the euro dollar 4 hour. But look at the overshoot. Look at this overshoot. It closed there, right? Looks great in hindsight. You got to trade. You got to buy limits here at this bottom. Here's the monster doji. Even the fractal guy got it right. We could come down there tonight. Don't forget, we could come down here into this, and if you lay the order bank in right, it's going to come down, it's going to sweep up, retrace. This is a retracement approach when you're doing limits, because you don't want to be selling into that and be trapped into some monster. So yeah, the euro dollar is going up. I'm expecting a pullback, maybe 10, 15 pips for a scalp. I'm not expecting some amazing move coming now. That's done. That was last night. That's not going to happen. I mean, it's going to take a while for that to, like right here was the sell, right? Here's the sell you missed. And what I was telling that guy in the fractal thing was, you see the fractal? That's where your orders need to go. If I can make that fractal bigger, rewrite the code and make that fractal like 20 pips, you would tell somebody that doesn't know how to trade, put orders up here. And they wouldn't even have to know if they're buy or sells. They would just be the limits. You just give them the limit grid. Okay, give them the limit grid and say, like, hey, go like this. Right? They put the limit grid. Those are sells just by default because they're up there. You tell them that pointing up diamonds, put these, and the pointing down diamonds is this. And you place them here, right? Now that's buying every these limit grids. I think I have a limit grid, just pure limit grid posting, but here's 3K. Put it right there. It's going to buy limit. So it gets in here and stops here. Ratios are 15 to 30, 15 to 20. You want to put some insane ratios. Not everything can be like that. Some of the stuff's going to have to be worse than break even just so you can survive the situation. So this idea that everything's going to have this 8-to-1 ratio is not a bullshit thing. There's no way you're going to survive unless you have some, I'll risk 15 to make 10. Stuff like that. Because if that's commingled in with an 8x1, then it's bringing that down. But you have to be able to swap stuff out. If you get these cars from the dealership and one of them has the engine's blown, you don't know what you're going to get. So you have to deal with the uncertainty of the fill, whatever happens. So here you could have sold up here and scalped this back to here. High probability trade, right? What's the chances that this is resistance? And if you're using the line chart, it's just easier to keep track. Here is also the inflection point on. I'm using if you ever traded moving average rules, I'm using the trend lines as moving averages. So you have to find the fair value at an angle here. You connect the valleys and the mountains. So right here, you gotta cue that up. But you can see that you're up against this channel. This is the Andrews pitchfork middle, right? So here's the top. There's an envelope up here. Don't forget, it's not a precise channel. It's an envelope. So here's your rollover. Here you spike through, but you weren't trading this channel. You were trading price, right? You're trading the top here. You would buy everything here. Here's the turnaround. Now on the clock, like I said, on the market orders, if you like to trade at the market, you got to wait to pull the trigger. Whereas the pendings, you just place and walk away. It's set it and forget it. But look at this. 1, 2, 3. If you kept buying at the market with a fat stop here, you really, right here, and then you stop buying as soon as it goes up. You let your iceberg orders here fill up. This is that dark pool, So wait for that vacuum to fill. Right, it's right here. If you want to feel like you participated in it, you'd buy at the market here, especially after a big down. Big down candles, always buy at the market. No questions asked with a wide stop because that's going to be a scalp, probably. At least a scalp. It's about probabilities. To create an elaborate scenario, a story, there's a difference between a story and there's multiple stories. As soon as you have one story, then you put a little bit of accent on it, and all of a sudden it's going the other way. And I can't imagine building a story where, it's going to be over here. Well, then get on the train here. If you think that you want to enter here, get on the train here, but not until the volatility drops down. If you're going to trade stop entry, you have to wait for the market to calm down. If you're going to trade at the market, you're just risking X per 4 hours. 4 hours, it's down by. That's the rule. If it's down every 4 until it works, that trade plan works. Now, you have that trade plan, but you also have a structurally based trade plan. Then you have a trade plan that's waiting for the market to calm down, and you put a hedge on. So you're a hedger. You're a swinger, you're a scalper, and you're a trend trader. But you have to get into the trend on a swing because you're looking for the pullback. So you're a swing trader to board a trend, and you're a scalper to pay to get on the train. So these things you have a triage. You have like this. You don't go in the hospital. First they see if you're alive, then they do a checklist and they x-ray you. This is the x-ray of the market. This is the skeleton. So there you go. Now it's up to you for waiting to get filled on these buy limits if it pulls back. How deep do you put them? Where should you start? I'd say I would start right here. I would say, let me put in a real wide one that's peppered. How about 15 pips zone, logarithmic, 6. Okay. It lasts for, I think these are all 8 hours. So start right here at that bottom. And I'll put another one. After that one gets blown up, I'll put in one here. Now this is very conservative. I don't even think this is trading really. We're going to fill down this and keep laying this all the way down. You know, this trade plan costs you whatever, right? You get up to like $100. There's only $300 in the account. You put $100 of tickets all the way down. You think they're going to fill that? I don't think so. Not today. I don't think this market's coming all the way. You think it come? This is the question. Do you think the market could drop all the way down there? That's the if-then statement. That's the only if-then statement you need to worry about. Then you just sit and wait until you see if you get filled. Same thing on the top side. The nice thing about these limit drops, you just throw it on top. So here's the sell side of that. I would start right at that wick. I've already got those in, so let's not double the damage. Here's 30 to make 30. So this is going to get in denser here. 15 pip range. I get stopped out there. I'll sell here again. So let that blow up. Lay that on some other currency. And every time it blows that out, instead of blowing up your account, you just do the same thing over and over again. So these are nets. There's 3. The thing's going to go smashing up, pull back, smash up, pull back, smash up, pull back. It's going to trip all these hurdles. And that's the trade plan. That sounds stupid, but what I've done is I've called 3 dealerships and I gave everybody my credit card and I said, any vintage car comes in, I want it. Because I trade vintage cars. And then when the market gets soft, I dump it. Like when everybody's like, oh man, I can't, or the seasons change and people want to sell their cars and buy a snowmobile. The end of the summer comes, they're broke, they partied too hard. And you come in and you take advantage of people's, if you own a junkyard, I mean, come on, you own a pawn shop, taking advantage of people's liquid assets that they can't manage. Their life's unmanageable. So, that's why, and so the thing with the empowered trading people is, the problem is, why don't they just say they're trading coaches? They shouldn't be telling you, well, this Gartley, this advanced pattern, I mean, they're sucking people in this advanced pattern. Honey, they couldn't trade a pattern if you put like a gun up their ass. They'd be like, well, I don't know. That's almost like gambling. You mean you're just going to throw orders out there? Who the hell you think you are, son? You think, I said, people that trade, you think, people that have traded, read Market Wizards, these people are just like going, I think I'm just going to buy. They're fucking killing it. Do you really think the guy that owns Berkshire Hathaway's got it? What do you think? He's some fucking genius? No, he's just like, hey, it looks like it's on sale. No fucking fear. So, but that's the mystique, and now the whole thing is about having the blinged out lifestyle, I suppose. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. That's my 200 pips, is it? I don't know what to say, man. But it's a daunting task. And I'd say hand place the orders. You could double click. You could write a script that you double clicks and throw those up there. And if you're on your phone, you could do that. Like if you had a tablet with Windows, so you could run MT4, you could double click. This is the only way I can see you could do it, because I don't know if you want to drag and drop stuff while you're driving. And you can just double click that thing and go, okay, that's a pretty aggressive script, but you're like, it's kind of outlandish in a way. I got some that I wrote that are just like, it's going to buy every 20 pips for 300 pips deep. Probably never fill, right? But that's a 12-hour script, right? So it's sitting out there to play that game, the bounce game or the whatever, just retrace game. And that's out there floating. And you'd be surprised, because when it gets to that price, if you had to decide at that point based on some certain extra filter, like, oh, it's got to be a certain kind of way it gets there. No, if some hot chick shows up in your doorway, who cares if she's missing an arm? Give her the missing arm break. But so yeah, it's going to be some kind of crazy week here. The British pound, another amazing buy. Look at this double test at the 100-yard line. Go figure, some good old redneck trading there. This is what I'm talking about. Why are people overthinking this shit? Well, you don't know, it could keep going down. Okay, well, your wife could actually love you. Yikes, that's a scary thought. She's like, you love somebody like me? I'm losing at trading every day. But look at the sell limits that disappeared. Now, I placed that up there, never filled. That was my dream of yesterday, was to play that retrace. But go figure, wouldn't you know it, that this was a retest entry. You could have sold here on the ATR breakout system. So here's your volatility system coming in on top of your limits. So it goes stop limit system. Small ATRs here, you get filled, you're long, right? You could even add here maybe because the ATRs are small enough to run that low risk here. You're like, oh, got it, buy, sell, right? Buy, sell, a little bit of a stop out, you're going to lose. Here you load this is 4 hours of nothing. You could probably get a roll bot. I still haven't been able to get, I have an ATR breakout bot. He wouldn't take this trade. He wouldn't take it with a bunch of tickets. He'd take it with one ticket. He'd one ticket trade that. You'd have to have a compound entry here, and then boom. And then your exit is, this is 20 pips, so you made 40 pips, and you got limits to get on the turnaround, and then the ATR bot comes back in on this, and it trades it to here. But you have to be all three bots. So you have to be the ATR bot. I'm putting in the hedge strategy, the static breakout, non-directional. It could go up. Then you have your limit grids. You're making money into the limit grids. No ATR signals till here. It's pure limits. You got to wait for this to come back. And you bought 1, 2 at the market. You bought 2 at the market. You bought how many you could afford on limits. Really the ultimate way to get in. Set it and forget it. Trades. You must have had to look at this at least every 4 hours to judge whether you should put in a static or just a breakout, just a good old-fashioned mechanical trade. And here's a mechanical trade. It's down, buy. It's down, buy. Stop buying. Stop buying when it's going up. Don't chase. Maybe buy at the market on small bars, anticipating the breakout. It's a 4-hour chart, right? But the thing is, you're going to filter out. And the problem I have with the fractals, and the Williams fractals, I was showing that you have to trade against it, right? It's counterintuitive. Bill Williams admits that getting in at the fractal is a terrible entry. He says it. He says it right off the bat. He says it's a terrible entry. He admits it in his video. What he says is, I'm going down to a smaller time frame for the entry. So it's true. What he's just saying is it's a very explicit version of the market turning. It's a curve, and you're getting the high, but there's an inside to that. What if you had a fractal that looked at the inner curve where the volatility is low? How about 2 fractals? It's going up. The ATR is getting smaller. He has no reference to volatility in his system. This is how you blow up your account and make money, is volatility. Because you're like, oh, and it just gets away from you. Next thing, it's going nuts. So here you can filter that just bar by bar every 4 hours. And if you make money like this, you'll be very upset because you didn't use your Gartleys that you spent all that money on. And if you're like this carny fuck that's waiting for this thing, Scanner keeps rewriting the edge of that. Oh, we got a new entry. Oh, we got a new entry. Well, yeah, I can do the same and then he's running RSI. After all that, he's got harmonic RSI. Good God, man. $250 a month for that ass clown. $2,500 a year to be in his live room and watch him just. You gotta get the size right. You gotta get the. You gotta have these different dimensions. You just can't trade that. When he's trading like one or two tickets in a world where you can trade like 1,000 tickets. Who's making money out there? McDonald's. You think you got a meal on there that costs $20? I don't know if you with the Happy Meal. What's that going for now? 10? They're making money from people buying dumb shit like pop, sugar water. It's the highest marked up item on the planet. People at the restaurant here crack up. People come in there for. You gotta be kidding me. They're like, we're making this stuff incredible, right? Pizzas, incredible markup. Who's making money? You think pizza stores are making money? Are they selling lobster tails? People are putting on lobster tail trades. So, geez. Well, yeah, because I know everything about lobster tails. So, look at this thing screaming. What's the trade? You can't touch this thing. You got to sell up here in limits now. You got to put the old scalps up here now. Trade the kickback off of this. This vacuum filled. Now this vacuum filled. Now this vacuum's filling. If you weren't long from this, there's no trade here. Just sell limits now. No breakout trades. Now you could run a sell stop as it's crawling up, but you'd switch time frames and now you're going to see a bunch of trades you missed there. So I guess the discipline is, when they say discipline, it'd be staying on a 4-hour chart. All you look is a 4-hour chart. Some people have just succumbed to that. They're like, I'm just tired of getting whiplashed. I'm just going to go far. 1-hour charts, like, see all the work you got to do on the 1-hour chart? Put on the breakouts. Put on the breakouts. Small ATRs made a little bit of money. Really made money. I put on more trades, though. I put on 3 buy stops and 4 sell stops. I got trapped here. If I'm long from this original trailing buy stop, just Gumster trading, mechanical, trailing sell stops come in here now. But buy stop, sell stop, make a little bit of money. And this is why you're either on the 4-hour chart or you're on the 15, right? Because if you're scalping, you're going to go down to the most. You're going to put buy limits here on the 15, right? Buy limit for the retest. And yeah, maybe you got a bad entry here at breakout. This would be the breakout on the 4-hour. That'd be a fractal breakout. That Williams breakout, but you got to buy down here. You got to be in before the breakout on market orders because you bought every 15 minutes went down. You went buy, 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 buy. Stop buying. Okay. Let it go. Make money. Buy one here, buy one here, buy one here. You buy every pullback. Let it make some. It's not killing it though. Your targets need to be 8 pips. You need to be trading really big here. 8 pips. Buy when it pulls back. 8 pips. Buy when it pulls back. See, buy when it pulls back. But this is the only buy in the whole thing. ATR breakouts. This is a setup. 15-minute chart. But you got to babysit this. 4-hour chart, you can have a life, right? ATR breakout here. Cleaned up. Look at that. Your limits are up here to capture that. ATR breakout. No fill on the buys. Only fill on the sells. Here. Big grid banks come in here, right? And now you're finally making money on that swing trade. I just destroyed that. You're finally making money on this grid bank down here on the swing account. So if you loaded the swing account, oh man, here comes the dollar. Oof, dollar yen. Oh, news just came out. So here we're going to get filled. We're about to get filled on this. Here we go. We're going to smash back the news just came out. Take a look at the yen here. Off to the races. You can't see it on the weekly, but take a look at the 4-hour. Great trap trade here. So here's another example: buying new lows, buying every 4 hours it drops. You're filled here. You're filled here. You're filled at the 100-yard line, and you got ATR fills because we paused here. And you were short coming into Asia. You were short into this on ATR systems coming into limits. You got to go both directions on this. Here comes the smash back on the Eurodollar now. So here we're smashing back into we're getting filled on a couple tickets here. I'm going to get rid of all this garbage. That's just fantasy stuff. But see, my sell limits are my, what am I in here? Did I put sell limits up there? No, I put buy limits starting at this, I said, right? Right here, my buy limit started, so I'm buying the pullback. I'll buy all the way back into here. That was the logarithmic trades that I placed. I'm only in 2K. This isn't like a ton of money here. So, you can trade light, and you can make, a swing trade. If you're trying to make 300 pips and you're barely in, that's still the same amount of money as the guy that's scalping a 20K for his 8 pips. It's quite a spectrum. Guy, this, there's a whole dimensional worlds of, you're just trying to make 12 pips, and maybe you do have a no stop. Okay, if you know it's a high probability trade, then it's a great trade. As the news is out, in 1 minute here, the 5-minute traders are going to step in, or the 5-minute chart's going to make sense. So you go to the 5-minute chart. You can see that if you held through that double touch on the 1 hour fractal and you had your limits at the fractals, you're cleaning up right now. You're still cleaning up, but it's coming into my buy limits, so I start buying at this fractal on limits and just put a psychotic order bank in because we could come all the way back to the starting gate. Now, every 15 minutes this is down, I would buy at the market, so I'd be buying, I would have bought there just before the news. And when this gets to 9 is 15 on these clocks for the M guy. And this is when you just pull the trigger. But you might say, you know what, it's just too good here. And I'm getting filled on a limit I put in here, but maybe I want to put in a dense. This is the discretionary part of trading. This is non-robot stuff. Okay, I'm going to risk 10 pips to make 20. I'm just almost a market order here. So I can start to put these in at new lows here, retest here, and put a dense order pack and really load the wagon, but loading it as it comes back in. I got a dense pack here. I can't add to that. And if this is real money, I would just buy at the market here. But I'm just going to let this play out. I'm actually in on my real money here. I'm long. But I know we could... Don't forget the stock market hasn't opened yet. You got another 55 minutes before the stocks open, and you probably could just keep tugging this back. So you're a swing trader on entry here. Even though you're saying, I think it's going up, I think I'm bullish, it could still come back. And here's the sellers are coming in on the yen. So look at this big smash up into where they fell out of bed here on the double bottom. So if you're looking here, you look right instead of left. You take this and look right for your order. Look left for your structure, but you have to look right for where you're going to place the sell limit's got to be right here at the apex here, whether they make money or not. Because that's a high probability, or this is going to be a controversial price. So you're looking for the controversy. See, this is what you're looking for, the drama. This is why it's not like real life. You're looking for drama. You're looking for controversy. You're looking to do bad things when you trade. If you trade the way these other people are trading, and the courses they sell make sense, that's why people buy them, but it's untradeable. It's literally, I know people think Fibonacci works, but that's just keeping you from over trading. Because you're never going to get filled. Like, you're going to have equity preservation by the sake that you got too many filters. So are indicator rules a way to not overtrade? So, because you can never get the rules to queue up, and when they do, then you overtrade because all the stars aligned, and you get in, and now you're just walking around bow-legged. But so this is the problem. So I'm going to pause this and wait for it to either fill it or kill it, as they say. Fill or kill, which was in the trading pit meant fill it or kill it. Like if it doesn't hit it in a certain amount of time, get rid of that order, baby. Because if that thing's floating out there, like I got sell limits up here, I wouldn't sell where I'm selling here. I just want this to execute. I want to force the so all these harmonic banks here. See these harmonica banks? These are the reeds, and it goes up there. So whatever story you need to tell yourself to make it okay to trade, I'd say do it. Like if you've got to. So this friend of mine said he wanted to be a trader so he could wear a nice outfit. So we just put a nice outfit and you'll be a trader. So yeah, that might sound silly, but that's as like Tony Robbins says, if you smile, you'll feel better, even though you're not happy, because the muscle in your face is going to take you down that metaphysical path. So, people have like lucky hats and shit. They trade better. But it's no different than the guy that isn't killing people because he thinks he'll go to heaven if he doesn't. You want those people around you, even if they're nuts. Because they're not going to kill you. Well, maybe they might, right? They think they saw the devil in your eyes or something. If I could wake up dead. But whatever kind of quirky workaround, a rabbit's foot, that's what I use to trade with. Just nibble on a rabbit's foot. I would never feel any fear. Fearless trading. Rabbitfootforex.com, it's my new site. Somebody probably already took that name. I was looking up names, and I tell you, people have taken everything. That's why the government's using all the funny names. That's government for you. They're about as creative as a just like a brick. A brick's got more response. They just don't know what they're. You get if you get involved with them, they are so talk about a lag, and then they say, "Oh, you didn't give us the papers on that." I'm like, "Well, but I filled out the papers. Why didn't you ask me at the time?" It went to the other department, and then they discovered, "Oh, wow, okay. This sounds like you sound like you're really, but you can't bail and go get another." See, the thing is, you can't bail and go I'm just going to go to the other government. I'm sorry, you can't leave now. This is it. There's one game in town, but here, I guess you can trade all these different currencies. This is the first financial freedom that's ever existed, really. Of course, it's like a buzzsaw. If you don't, some guy was complaining about leverage. I'm like, yeah, well, people look at that and they say, they don't realize they're in a $2,000 position and they're using $4 a margin, right? That's a mind bender. And sure, it's great when the market's going up. Like, who's going to fly to Europe with a $1,000 briefcase? Show up at the bank with a 500 pip spread, or worse, maybe. I heard the Bitcoin, so I was watching the Bitcoin thing, and my Bitcoin account froze. MT4 has done that a couple times to me. I literally can't even close it down. You got to force the closing of it. So I said, "Hey, what's the story?" Oh, I stripped the whole thing out. Complete uninstall, reinstall. But Bitcoin, you can't even get your Bitcoins now. There's so much people are dumping, right? And so because people are dumping, you're creating this huge spread now. And there's a lag. There's a lag on getting filled because people want to hold through the swing or something. Whatever, they're getting crushed, right? So it's a stampede. It's a price vacuum like you've never seen. It's actually execution vacuum. So there's execution issues in Bitcoin now. Like I said, there's no time to buy Bitcoin. I would only use Bitcoin to transfer. It's just a convenience, but investing in Bitcoin and Dash and all these fucking, and then I just heard this guy with the BIP, was it BIP 48 100 bit 148 or something. This is a new standard in Bitcoin to try to stabilize and people's wallets, and double confirmations and holding your phone up to something. I don't know. I would never invest in Bitcoin. I would invest in like I don't know, furniture maybe. Something you could use. Even gold. Gold's bullshit. What, you buy gold? It's going to be worth it. Yeah, you're going to sell it, and you're going to get your fiat money. What is it? What is it with people? I just need cash flow. I need to trade currency because the leverage. Where's the leverage in the gold trade? You're buying the fucking hard assets. You just wrapped up how much in that shit? So I talked to this one trader, very kinesthetic guy years ago. He's like, well, I want to get some just to have it in my hands. I'm like, oh, whatever gets you off, I'm going to hold on to gold. Like, I'm holding on to it. It's not a bank. Listen, the bank's a better deal than Bitcoin could ever be. Convenience? You're paying for convenience. Not being oppressed. Bitcoin's vapor. It's one thing to use it for execution trades and pay, like, to just own it for a millisecond just to make it what do you call it, just a transfer system. But owning Bitcoin? Are you fucking kidding me? And that account I was trading, a 1K was costing me, I don't even know what that balance is. I honestly don't know what I was doing there. I just knew that I wanted to sell when it was up. I'm just going with the real caveman approach to trading. If it's high, I'm selling. If it's down, I'm buying. And keeping the size right. Got to keep that. You can't trade too big. That's all I'm saying. Okay, looks like we're going to leave the station here. So I'm about to pull the trigger on the buy at the market ticket because we got 1 minute. It's still down. We have a buy. And that's my system. It's dumb. That's how it goes. A lot of thrills and spills, though, especially when you get that black swan, right? Market jumps down 500 pips and fills some grids you throw in there you never thought filled. That's a great feeling, just because if you did that with one click to lay all those pendings, 3 clicks maybe 3 drops, big master, giant fucking, just load up down there. Put a hot spot of like 300K in there, just peppered in there. Market smashes down, retraces, boom, you're out. You didn't even see it happen. Come back to your platform. You're up. You're out. Up and out. Not just up. You don't have to manage anything. Who's managing this shit? You build a trade plan with a 12 pip stop to make 8 pips. It's probably a scalp trade. On the guppy, it certainly would be. So you have to think about that too. This guy was scalping the guppy, and I said, man, you are really a good trader. You're down. Well, I mean, you're got to be trading small, right? You just trade small in the guppy, and it's a good scalp in the guppy. You trade small, but if you get in big, man. Okay, so I just bought at the market, and you just have to wait. I have a market order here. Let's see. I had to unpack that one script. I didn't take it all out, I guess. I'm missing something here. But we'll just buy manually here. Okay, so let's go old school here. Just load up. And no stops. Of course, right? See, this is the hard part. You use this one-click thing, be very careful that this isn't set to 100K. This is bullshit. There's no stop, no take profit. That's how those guys trade. You see these guys trade. Oh, this buy looks like a buy. But you really shouldn't do that. It's really like driving without your seatbelt on. It's like driving on the hood of your car. Get the steering wheel redesigned so you can have it come out of the hood of the car. So yeah, this is some boring stuff here. So we'll just come back to that. I'm going to trade naked, no stops. That's naked trading right there, no stops. Let a whistle blow. All aboard. 15-minute breakout. Bots are getting in here on these low ATR 15 minutes. You've got a somewhat of a top bottom here. Kind of cuts back through, but you can make the argument for the momentum top bottom. So you see that trend line here is holding on close. Actually, it never came near that. So, but all it is there's uncharted water on the north side, and if you think that you put in too many sell limits up there, you just come down to the bottom here where it says closed ticket, and you can just start plucking those off without having to open up the platform. Give yourself about 20 pips of space, so if we get a burst through the high of the day, we'll start to go into uncharted water there, coming into a vacuum, still filling. We could go up another whatever pips. So you could still leave the harmonica orders up there and wait till they get filled and go long into those limits. So I'm long into the limits to go the other way. Let's see, we're still waiting for the stocks to open, cash. We hit the round number. I'm going to get out of everything. And I could cancel all pendings, but I think I'll leave the sells up there for the scalp off the top. Now, if I was sitting here, I just got back. If I was sitting here, I would have nailed everything here. Here's why: if you don't have predefined exits, you can't trade for a dollar amount. You have to trade for the structure. Like whether or not you're making enough money in this trade is inconsequential. You can see the exit door, you got to take it. So get out, go flat. If you really like the trade, if you really think it's still going up, put the buy limits here back at the starting gate and start all over again. So I'm just saying, if you're trying to trade for, you want to make a certain amount of money every day, and you force the trade, you hold on to it. If you sold up here and you were looking for this to go to hell and it didn't, at what point do you say it's not going to hell, I got to get and go the other way? And if you're looking to make money or pips and that's on your mind, it'll totally kill your a realistic view of the market, because you're not trading for money, you're trading for you're trading for execution. You're trading because you can trade. In other words, it's you don't when somebody walks in the store and they're wearing a nice expensive outfit, you don't have dollar signs go off in your head and fuck up the sale. So you just stay on course, and it's a process. Trading is an exercise, a process. And if you're trying to, like I said, here was the sellers are going to come in at high probability they're going to come in at this trend line up here on the daily. But they're really coming in because we just hit a climax move on the upside, and we just cut into this. Now, earlier, you could have scalped that pullback, and you could be scalping right now off that round number. You'd be up 10 pips right now. But whether you're up $10 or $100 is inconsequential. You know the exit door on the 15. Like if that's a scalp, it could still keep going up now. You have to realize that's a scalp, take it, go back in. So if you really like the trade, you were long, what's preventing you from buying right now? Well, I was up so big, and now I got to get back in, and it was such it was so painful to trade, and I really get back in now after I just dumped all. Yeah, we'll get back in lightly, rebuild the position, and so it shouldn't be a problem getting in and out. But it is, because it's just psychological. If you're up big on some trade and you said, if I would have held it, and my gut told me to do this, and my gut told me, did your gut tell you to take whatever it's going to give you and leave? No, your gut's going to get greedy, and your gut's going to say, no, I'm going to stick with this, let my profits run. So it's a double-edged sword. You have to be honest with yourself and say, am I greedy? Am I trading for the dollars, or am I trading what the market's telling me to trade, and how it's telling me to trade, and what type of orders I need to be placing, and what is no longer like this 1 hour bar here? Maybe sell stops below, right? Here's a top bottom launching pad. Perfect setup here, right? But the party's over when it gets to here. You got to be taking something. Anyways, that's my live trading. That's right. Real money with fake money. So I'm flat, waiting to get filled on the sell side. Way up here, nosebleed land. Start putting sell limits up there. Probably going up there. Tomorrow will probably be at 113. But don't anybody think that when I say, so I'm talking to this guy and he's short. And he says, oh, I said, I'd probably, if you're a scalper, I'd get out right now. And then before I hung up the phone, I said, you could probably get back in your cell now because we're probably going to go down into this hole last night. So he says to me this morning, well, I sort of stuck with my gut. So I asked him, well, where would you get out? Where was your target? He said he didn't have a target. He had a dollar amount target. Now, this is dangerous. You have a dollar amount target because you're trying to make X amount of dollars per day. Not a good idea. Because the market's saying, I'm done riding down. I'm done. I think he'd be underwater right now if he's still holding. And he'd say, well, I've been told let your profits run. I let it run. That trade didn't work out. Just because you're short in an uptrend, because you're counter trend trading, it's in an uptrend, right? And it's been going up. It's still going up, but it wouldn't matter because he could have made another 20. He could have made another 30 pips if he'd held. But he thought that I knew what I was doing. He said, well, if you say get out, you must know, right? He's looking for other traders to confirm his trades. But if he would have stuck with his gut, would he have gotten out when he was up? Because he was trading for a dollar amount. He wasn't trading for a structure level. He wasn't trading for pips even. So I asked him. And so that's the thing. And if you're looking for a signal service, it's not going to help you on the sizing of that trade. And the signal service also, I don't know if they have a target, but if their target is shallow and you're like, shit, I should have just stayed in. Yeah, you should always do what you think you should do. I'm only saying that everything you've been taught, that most of the stuff these people are teaching, they don't trade. They're not trading. So they don't have any type of mental, this will kill Stokes. He's not trading anything. He's not trading real money. So, you know, it's a whole different mindset when you're actually in a trade, risking money. And you're up on a trade, thinking, man, I just let that thing run, and not seeing that there's an exit door, the party's over. And when the cops show up, you want to be gone before the cops show up, is what I'm saying. You can see certain people are leaving, and there's this kind of a atmosphere going. You're like, you know what? We may have peaked on this party. This could be the place to sell, to ride this all the way back down to, and then you would have said, see, if I would have held that trade for another week, it would have been a winner. But you can't think like that because you didn't, and you wouldn't, and you couldn't because you're thinking about dollars. So it sounds very counterintuitive that you're trying to make money, but you can't think about the money. You have to think about where you should be getting in and out. So you have to get out here because this is where the sellers are coming in. It's not up to you. This isn't going to go to the moon. This may not make it to 13. We have to go all the way down. This may be it. This trend line may be in force on the daily. Who knows? But that's it. See the 1 hour? You got to be a seller up here. You got to get out that round number and just bag it. Just bag it. You can get right back in. You can do more damage later to your account. Buy like this, right? Anyways, there you go. Good luck.